The Sultanate of Oman is located on the southeast coast of the Arabian Peninsula at the mouth of the Persian Gulf. It is neighbored on the southwest by Yemen, on the west by Saudi Arabia, and on the northwest by the UAE. Its official language is Arabic, and its official religion is Islam, with Abadi Islam as the dominant sect. However, its population is quite diverse and comprises citizens from India, Pakistan, Egypt, Bangladesh, and the Philippines, and is accepting of all religions. I spent most of my time in Oman's capital, Muscat, and some time in Salalah, a region in the south that has a much milder temperature and a much tougher name to pronounce. Oman is known for being one of 2 countries that export frankincense, which is a sweet-smelling incense made from the bark of frankincense trees. The culture of Oman is unique, especially because the 9 regions of Oman are so diverse. For example, the Hedjar Mountains shelter Omani villages that have created a language called Omani Hidari Arabic, with sounds that even some of the city-dwelling Omanis could not pronounce. And the northern and southern regions have distinct dialects, much like in the United States. For example, my Omani Arabic teacher, Dr. Hamoud, pronounced the letter Jim as a harsh G sound, while my Omani friend Amal insisted that the proper pronunciation was a softer J sound, and often made fun of Dr. Hamoud for saying Tagaga instead of Dajaja for chicken, and Gash instead of Josh, to address one of the American college students in our group. Although some Western media uses only black head coverings and weapons to describe Middle Eastern society, the Middle East is not homogeneous, and the photos I took in Oman during my 6-week cultural exchange are tapestries of aqua blues and ochre yellows like these in the ceiling of Souk Mutra, reflecting the energetically amiable personalities of the people I met. I never once felt unsafe, and the only weapons I saw were khanjars, ceremonial daggers that are part of the national dress for men.
Omani women typically wear beautiful jalabiyas, which are colorful house dresses, or regular westernized clothing. And they wear those under the abayas, which are the long black dresses that are worn daily. And the men have fashion too. A lot of Omani men wear kumas, which are these types of hats that can be styled in many different ways.
Of course, there are so many different cultures within Oman that it's hard to describe even what I witnessed firsthand in the 3 weeks I was in the country. Oman is pretty flexible when it comes to families deciding how they want their lives to flow. So I met conservative Omanis like my friend Muzna, who could talk for hours about Super Mario Bros. And chocolate but did not want her picture taken, and relatively westernized Omanis like my partner in crime Amal, who could not wait to hike up her abaya and join me in climbing one of the tallest mountains in the region. The Bedouin culture is again different. The Bedouin peoples have a specialized dialect of Arabic that speaks in whispers of the breeze-tossed sand with every syllable, and my group was able to spend 2 entire days with the Bedouin family at the Wahiba Sands camp. This is one of the American college students riding a camel in Bedouin garb that is traditional but fancier than the quotidian, as you can probably tell from the look of polite amusement on the Bedouin man's face. 2 summers ago, I had never even heard of Oman, let alone all of the cultures inside it, and I only knew about the Middle East because of the violence dire enough to transcend news about American celebrities and make it into the newspapers. When I joined the Global Studies program, I expected to travel to a nice westernized country, probably France or Italy, as I began taking French and Italian when I came to Strictly Academy in 9th grade, and I had already taken a year of German at my old school. So when AMEI approached me about participating in a cultural exchange with Oman, I was not immediately on board with the idea. I saw their brochures with pictures of camels roaming the desert and beautiful henna applied to hands by smiling women, but I felt that these were poor covers for uprisings bursting out of formerly peaceful villages, sure to be happening somewhere in the country.
Then I remembered that I had joined the Global Studies program because I had become fascinated with learning about new cultures through friends who lived in Pittsburgh, but identified with other cultures. This trip was outside of my comfort zone, but it allowed me the opportunity to expand my resources to continue learning. After discovering on Omani news sites that car accidents were the most dangerous events, I convinced my parents that my vast wealth of knowledge about Oman told me that it would be completely safe, and they graciously allowed me to go.
And as you can see from my pictures, I somehow missed the opportunity to document violence and only had desert scenes with people on camels and hands handed by friends to photograph. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and a smile is worth even more. The people I had the opportunity to meet in Oman could not have been kinder and more hospitable, and one of my favorite memories consists of picking up ripe mangoes from piles on the ground with an Omani college student's younger sister while she taught me how to sing head, shoulders, knees, and toes in Arabic. Sometimes the smallest conversations can convey so much, which is why languages are my favorite academic subjects. I think that it is important to balance speaking, listening, and writing when learning a language, so I generally try to supplement learning languages in classrooms with listening to songs, like Italian songs by Giovanotti, and watching movies written in the language. Of course, immersion is even better. One of the reasons that I think languages are my favorite academic subjects is that you can continuously think about them. They say that you have achieved fluency in a language when you dream in it, but thinking and writing in a language can also increase your fluency and passion about the language. One rule of the Omani exchange was that we were supposed to speak in the language of the country when we were out, but in the language of the other country in our dorms. So, in America, we were to speak English in the Strip District and while exploring the city of Pittsburgh with our Omani friends, but to speak Arabic in the dorms and classrooms, and vice versa in Oman.
The exchange comprised 3 weeks in America at Washington and Jefferson College, followed by 3 weeks in Oman at Sultan Qaboos University. So I figured that by the time I was in Oman, I would be able to converse fluently with people in the streets. But I soon found that Arabic was quite different from the French and Italian and German that I had been learning in school.
My first 3 weeks were occupied mostly by attempting to learn the alphabet, training my hand to write from the right side of the page to the left, and to getting to know my roommates Rahma and Amal. Although I was already friends with everyone, when we went to Oman for the second half of the exchange, I was immediately out of my comfort zone when I arrived in Muscat. Oman is very stable, so I never feared for my safety at all, but I did have to get used to the cultural differences. After we went through Omani security at the airport, my group took a bus to the dorms, and the bus driver asked all of the women to move to the back of the bus. I think all of the American girls secretly longed to institute a Rosa Parks moment of bravery, but we had just arrived in the country, so we sat in surly silence. It was only after the boys departed and we were allowed to spread out that I realized that this custom was aimed to make the Omani girls more comfortable by separating the students by gender, as we had done in the classrooms in America. Once I was accustomed to the Omani way of life, I felt very comfortable and had no problems at all. Learning to communicate is an important step in becoming a global person, and traveling is essential to commencing this step. Even if there is not a language barrier, there will almost certainly be some cultural differences. For instance, one of the Omani boys politely asked the Americans to stop crossing our legs with our feet across our knee when we sat down, because in Oman it is an insult to show the bottom of your foot to somebody. The American boys were initially put off by the separate rotating doors for men and women upon entering the library, but the American girls, who now knew better, explained that it was clearly meant to make the women feel more comfortable. There were also some interesting translation occurrences, of course. Many of my Omani friends had learned English from old movies, so one girl said that she had to go powder her nose when she meant that she had to leave, and it took us, the Americans, a few days to figure out what she meant. With so many differences in just one culture, and some specifics lost in translation, I think that including different perspectives in global decisions is vital to addressing true global problems in general. Localizing the group of people attempting to solve a problem can ensure that the actual needs of the people are met, instead of the international community just guessing at what would be best, with no specific knowledge of the culture and customs of a society.
I'm hoping to pursue a college schedule focused on international relations next year, and possibly even join the Peace Corps or Teach USA after college, now that I have experienced travel and met people from so many foreign countries.
After traveling to Oman, I kept in touch with nearly all of the people I had met. Now I have a network of people whose opinions I can ask anytime. Every time a controversial issue comes up, I like to discuss it with my Omani friends so that I can open my mind up to other people's opinions and reconsider my own opinion. This also acts as an incentive to stay informed about current global issues that influence international relations. Since I often reconsider my own views, the resulting opinions that I form are backed by many reasons, and I can now defend my own views better when they differ from others while still respecting and considering others' opinions. Beyond staying connected with people that I met on my trips, I am attempting to meet new people through social media like Facebook and websites like Iron. Going to the conference in Doha helped me to make more of these connections. Traveling is a process that extends beyond a single trip. Physically exploring Oman started the domino chain of events that will hopefully help me make more connections in the international community, but meeting the people made me want to continue learning about the Middle East.
Oman was the most influential experience on my life so far. I learned some Arabic, jumped into an asteroid hole fully clothed, including a hijab, rode a camel, went dune riding, and climbed to the top of a mountain. But more importantly, I made many friends, both American and Omani, that I will never forget. Now that I have traveled to Oman, I was able to form my own conclusions about the Middle East, separate from those promulgated by the media or tourist sites, and I also fomented a passion that I would like to pursue in college.